Hello, vinyl community. I have only 4 LPs to show today. I hope to have at least one more by today, but it's a little late in arriving. Another one for my ECM collection, but I hope you'll find today quality is over quantity. And the first one I have to show is the brand new release by Soft Machine. This is their first as Soft Machine as opposed to Soft Machine Legacy since the Legacy band formed. And this is the lineup that's currently touring with the 70s members, John Etheridge on guitar, John Marshall on drums, Roy Babington on bass, and Theo Travis is the new boy on the woodwinds and keyboards. This is a double LP produced by the late John Heisman of Coliseum fame, and this is the version on orange vinyl. There is another color available. I think it's a blue version. And this is great stuff. They're doing some remakes of their older material, but it's primarily new stuff and definitely carrying on the vibe of the 70s version of Soft Machine. Obviously, Soft Machine went through so many changes over time, I can't say that it carries on the vibe of the original Soft Machine, but really good stuff, and the vinyl version contains a side of bonus material from the sessions, so highly recommended. Okay, the second one is an album I've been wanting to reintroduce to my collection for a long time, and this one is really hard to find with a cover in nice condition. For some reason, this black cover tends to get rubbed very easily, and I think the copy I had, even back in the 70s, had a heavy ring wear on it, and that is John Coltrane featuring Pharoah Sanders live in Seattle. This I was lucky enough to score a sealed copy, so it's wonderful to get a new copy of this after all these years. Perfect condition. This is a live recording, obviously, from 1965, recorded at the Penthouse Club in Seattle on September 30th, 1965. By the lineup of John Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders on saxes, guest Donald Garrett on bass and bass clarinet, and the rest of the band is the classic quartet lineup: Coltrane, McCoy Tyner, Jimmy Garrison, and Elvin Jones. This was recorded the day before they went into the studio and recorded Ohm. So it's in that vein. This is really Coltrane at his most thorny, his least accessible, his most dense and noisy. So if you're into the Ohm period, this is for you. And the album comes, this is on the Impulse label. It's got the original sleeve there, the Impulse label with the red circle. And even comes with a little flyer for Impulse Records. This is part of something they build as the University series of fine recordings. So the flyer promotes that, as well as having listings of other Impulse jazz releases. So this was a great score for me. And another one I've been trying to get for a while, again reintroducing my collection, is Joseph Jarman and Anthony Braxton, Together Alone. This is just the two of them together, but it varies in what we're hearing in terms of the density of sound, because it begins with an announcement, just speaking the titles of the pieces on the one side that's devoted to Joseph Jarman's compositions, the other side being Anthony Braxton's compositions. And the first piece on the album is simply a duet for the two saxophones, initially playing in unison and eventually diverging. And then without a pause, Joseph Jarman's saxophone continues while Anthony Braxton switches to piano for the second very long piece, which is Dawn Dance. And the sides are reversed, actually. On the back cover, it lists these pieces that I'm talking about as side 2, but the label's listed as side 1. Cover also lists Joseph Jarman first. The label and spine list Anthony Braxton first, so you have to flip a coin if you file your records alphabetically, which one gets it. Anyway, the second piece, Dawn Dance for the saxophone, shortly after the beginning switching to flute, and the piano beginning as standard piano playing, and then for most of the piece I think Braxton switches to playing on the inside of the piano. And finally, Morning, which is something that begins with bells and prepared tapes of voices. So it suddenly becomes very dense and noisy after the very sparse, even austere beginning. The Anthony Braxton side continues the density with a piece that has heavy electronic sounds. Apparently it's Joseph Jarman on synthesizer. And again, there's prepared tapes or overdubbing going on. It's not really clear. There aren't any liner notes on this that tell who's doing what, so there's a bit more on the CD release explaining what's happening. And finally, the piece where they go back to being just the two of them alone, with a duet for Braxton's contrabass clarinet and Joseph Jarman on soprano sax. Really cool cover art by Tortel Only, who's known for his comic book art today. This is an album, as I said, I've been trying to score for a while. I actually had just missed out on a copy I tried to bid on eBay. And people ask some pretty outrageous prices for this. I've seen people asking $80 to $100 for this. And right after losing the bid on eBay, which went for a pretty reasonable price, I got this one for a very modest price. So it's not a perfect copy, but it's pretty good. So I'm really pleased with that. And this is on the Delmark label. And finally, this is one that takes me back to college years a bit, because I had this album from a bin of records that they used to have in our college bookstore. Just a couple bins of random cheapy records. I remember I bought a lot of Ravi Shankar, the World Pacific label releases by him, out of those bins. I think everything was $2. And another thing I picked up from that bin back in those days was Stravinsky's Oedipus Rex on the Turnabout label. And this is an American issue of a Czech recording, originally on the Czech, I guess, Supraphone label from Czechoslovakia as it was then. And this is very cool. This is a short opera, less than an hour long, and it's done in a very Greek style, as befits the Greek subject matter, with a chorus that responds to the things that the main characters say, the chorus representing basically the people of Thebes, and a narrator. It's all in Latin. The back cover does have Latin and English translation. There's also some French narration that comes in occasionally, which is not transcribed on here. And one ringy-dingy. That was someone who didn't want to talk to me. So that's basically it for today, but I did want to show one other item that's not a vinyl release, but the new CD set from Wayne Shorter. This is just so beautiful. In a hardback, die-cut cover, bound into a graphic novel. Beautiful artwork, really amazing stuff. And the music is brilliant. This is just an amazing album. The first disc is the studio disc with the quartet augmented by a chamber orchestra, 34-piece orchestra. And the second and third discs are live in London with just the quartet, and most of the music is interpretations of the music that's presented on the studio disc, with John Patitucci on bass, Danilo Perez on piano, and Brian Blade on drums. So just wanted to show that because it's definitely going to be a favorite of the year. That's it for now. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comments, and we'll be talking with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.